I want you to grow more weeds. Hear me out, not just any weeds. Weeds that will help feed your soil. This year I'm experimenting with living mulch. Living mulch are plants that you grow and maintain not to harvest, but to improve the health of your soil, amongst other reasons. In this bed I have clover. Now, clover is part of the legume family, and the legume family fixes nitrogen. What that means is it has the ability to take nitrogen out of the air, and in a symbiotic relationship with a particular soil bacteria, it can set nitrogen in little nodules on its roots, which means the crops that you're growing to eat, your tomatoes and your cucumbers, can access that nitrogen as fertilizer. Living mulch can do many other things, including shade your beds. So if I wasn't growing this clover, I would have all of this bare soil open to the elements, open to the heat and the UV rays, which can kill the microbacteria in my soil. So as these plants grow and spread out, they will shade this soil and lower the soil temperature, which is great for water retention too, so less evaporation. So why living mulch as opposed to mulch that you grow and cut down? Well, I'm going to let this clover grow, and then right before it sets seed, I'm going to trim it down. I'm not going to pull it out. I'm not going to turn it under. I'm going to trim it right back down, and it will grow again. So as we all know, fruit production is a really intensive process. So I don't want those flowers to grow and set seed, because that plant will then kind of do the opposite of what I'm growing it to do. I don't want it to pull the nitrogen. I want it to be available to my other plants. I will leave the cuttings right on the bed, which will decompose and add nutrition to the soil. Now, if you're concerned that it's going to compete with your plants, just think of the way that plants grow in nature. They are never isolated from each other. They grow as a community because different plants do different things for each other. So what I'm growing here, so I have some fennel growing, I have some tomatoes, I have a cucumber and a melon, I have some kale over there, I have a zucchini somewhere. So they're all growing in community, and this clover is not going to compete, it's going to assist. In another bed, I have fenugreek growing. This is the first time I've ever grown fenugreek. It's also in the legume family, and it's going to serve the same purpose, with an added bonus that fenugreek is quite tasty. Fenugreek shows up in Indian cuisine and Persian cuisine, so I might experiment with eating the fenugreek leaves. Fenugreek seeds also are edible, and you can harvest from that. But again, remember, I'm going to trim it down before it sets seed. Fenugreek is a great companion plant for your nightshades. So I have it in a bed with lots of tomatoes. You can pair it with your eggplant, with your peppers. When you choose your clover, if you decide to go for clover, look for white or red clover. They are the most efficient nitrogen fixers. This is a beautiful crimson variety that I got from Baker Creek. And the lovely thing about clover is that it will flop, and those stems will grow up and provide nice shade, like I mentioned. If you are growing outside of garden beds, living mulch will also help prevent erosion. It will help anchor that soil. Now, I grow in these lovely Vego garden beds. I'll have a link in the description below. You can check those out. I don't have to worry about erosion. All my soil stays in these beautiful beds. Now, I'm going to do a follow-up video in a few weeks to show you what this living mulch looks like when it's filled out in my bed and I have my vegetables growing up amongst them. In the meantime, check out my home gardening playlist chock full of tips and tricks for your gardening this year.